All right, the Reds, it's Talking Reds, and I've got Mo Stewart with me today on this beautiful Tuesday in Liverpool. We've just both made our way into the office on the Liverpool waterfront, and it's glorious, isn't it, lad?
It's a beautiful day.
It's
I'm glad to be
absolutely
back.
lush.
One of the things I really have missed is just walking along up to here, the building.
Yeah, it's tremendous. It's tremendous. What a beautiful city. Anyway, I wanted to do a big dramatic transfer voice to start off this Talking Reds, because I was watching Sky Sports before, and they've got some dramatic people in, haven't they?
Oh, really?
Also, as well, did you ever ring, back at, we're showing age here, but did you ever ring those transfer
Club
lines?
call. Oh, yeah.
Club call.
Yeah. Well, no, technically I did it once, and I basically shit myself because I knew it was a premium line, and I knew that my dad was going to hear it. So I basically listened to it, and then I didn't even get to the options bit. I just kind of hung up again.
Well, I stayed with it because there was it was a rumour around Liverpool buying a keeper at the time. I remember it really well because there was a dramatic voice on the other end of it going, and there's no doubt where we start. Edwin van der Sar is a target for Liverpool. And he never came, obviously. But yeah, there's no doubt where we start today. 20 days of the transfer window remain. And Divock Origi is reportedly in talks with Fenerbahce. I'll stop doing this now.
Please stop.
Yeah, the Mirror have reported that Fenerbahce are speaking to Liverpool about Divock Origi. It's been a bit of a weird one over Origi, hasn't it? Because I think it's been out there for a while, even last season, that sort of Liverpool would listen to offers. I think there was a bit of a price tag of 20 million-ish kicking round then. Wolves, I think, had a bit of a sniff once upon a time, then went away, and obviously they're all right up front these days.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, Fenerbahce are meant to be having a sniff, along with Aston Villa, Newcastle, Brighton and Fulham. But a Turkish journalist called Ekrem Kanur claims Fenerbahce have made the first move. He says they're talking about a loan. I don't get this one, I've got to be honest. Talk me through this one, Mo. It says, Liverpool are open to letting Origi go, providing Fenerbahce pay a loan fee, and then the agreement includes a mandatory obligation to buy.
Well, that's basically because Fenerbahce don't want to give us 20 million for him in this. Maybe the way they do their accounts mean that they want to do it differently. So paying a 5 million loan fee and then with an obligation to buy him for 14 million. It's the same thing, but just maybe spreading it out. That's the only way I can think about it.
It's no good for us, that, though, is it? Because, the talk is that we need to sell to buy, which is what everyone's getting in a bit of a froth about as the season goes on and the deadline gets ever closer. So you'd think that doesn't really work for Liverpool?
Well, yes and no. I mean, if they're going to be taking all of his wages, then you can see it working as well. And obviously, Divock's, I'm not sure if he counts as one of our homegrown because he wasn't young enough when he arrived, was he?
Don't think so, no.
So if you're looking for another homegrown place, and then if maybe you are looking to sell Brewster, then you've got the money there and you've got the place as well for someone like a Thiago. The thing with Div, I mean, last season, you can understand a little bit him wanting to stay and maybe see if he can take the momentum from the goal in the final and try to get more of an impact on this team. 12 months down the line, he hasn't done that. Yeah. He doesn't look like he's in any position to do that. It looks like when we move on to the next generation of forward line, once the Salamane Firmino thing is eventually broken up, it's not going to be Div.
No.
He knows that now. Also, he's got the middles. So when people say to him, what did you do at Liverpool? He's like, well, I scored in Champions League final, mate. I won a league.
Scored 5 goals against Everton.
Exactly. So now he can go with his head held high to a team who is going to showcase him as a main guy. And Fenerbahce, Turkey in general, makes a shit ton of sense for me because he's going to be the main man when he goes there. He's going to still get to play European football. Whereas if he goes to a Premier League team, I mean, half those Premier League teams mentioned have already bought a striker in his window anyway.
Newcastle have bought a striker, obviously.
Villa
have.
Yeah, and then you've got Fulham, who, yes, they have Mitrovic, but he's always injured. But then Fulham are at high risk of going back down. Yeah. Brighton, you never know, there might be something for him. Obviously, they've got Maupay in there, but Connolly, I think, is their backup striker, so he's got a chance of fighting there. Obviously, Adam Lallana's just gone there, so his mate's there. But for me, I think Fenerbahce seems to be the one. It makes sense. And it feels like this is the right time for him to go with all our wishes rather than another season of him coming off the bench and everyone secretly wishing someone else was coming off the bench.
Yeah, all very fair. He's got a contract until 2024. The Mirror say he's valued at around 30 million, so gone up a little bit there from what I was saying. But sorry, the Turkish journalist claims that the Reds would be prepared to let him go for just shy of 14, which seems a little bit on the low side. But he did sign for Liverpool back in 2014 for 9.8 million. He's appeared in a red shirt a total of 140 times, 57 starts though, 83 as sub, and also he's been subbed off 35 times as well, which is heavy.
So what, that's like 15 90-minute performances? And you have to say probably most of those have been League Cup as well.
Yeah, and he's got 34 goals, as I say, 5 of them against Everton, 1 of them in the European Cup final. 9 assists, which is incredibly low, and I was quite surprised by. And his best season in terms of output was his second one, 2016-2017. He got 11 goals then, he got 10 the season before. And he got 6 goals last season from 42 appearances. So yeah, I mean, he is a bit part player. Yeah. He is at a stage in his career at 25 where you would think he would want regular football. As Mo has already said as well, I think everyone now wants there to be a smaller gap between the quality of the front three and the quality of the backup. And Origi's not really ticking those boxes. So we shall see. Another one is that Brewster is reportedly set to move away to Sheffield United. That seems to be ramping up this morning. They were getting excited about that on Sky this morning. Yeah, I mean, what do you think about that one? Obviously, there's the 11 goals in 22 appearances for Swansea, so that's meaning there's a lot of interest there. If Origi's going as well, all of a sudden we're looking a bit short here.
Well, I think if both of them are going, then that obviously means that we're going to bring someone in this window as well. And obviously the rumours around Ismaila Sarr are still knocking about, so you can see that being the case. I wouldn't want to do that. I would resist selling Brewster. I mean, I'll probably even resist loaning him, to be brutally honest with you. I think we would need to maybe get a bit more experience into the squad, but I think if we're looking at using Minamino within the forward line as well, I still don't know what the hell's happening with Shaqiri. If he's a live option, then that's great. If he's not, then we sell him and bring someone else in.
If he's alive, even.
Exactly. That's what I mean. If he's a live option. But I just think, in my mind, I think if you give Brewster the minutes this season that we gave Origi last season, he will do better. And I think that as much as you can make a case for him going out on loan again, he probably doesn't want to do that. The whole sell him and buy him back thing, I think it just ignores a little bit the humanity of the people involved. And that doesn't seem to be the kind of thing we do generally. So I can see where it makes business sense. It might be that he's a more saleable asset in this market than a lot of the other guys who we are actively looking to get rid of. So it might be that forces the club's hand. I've had visions of him coming of age in a red shirt, and I'm not willing to let him go.
The other thing that's out there today, a little thing really, I don't think we need to have a great discussion on it, it's just something about Thiago, obviously, every day.
Obviously.
Every day there is something on Thiago as the clamour continues for us to sign him. It's just a little thing on ESPN that mentions the whole saga, but claims that he's demanding in excess of £200,000 a week. That is obviously on top of a fee of around 27 million as well. So, you know, make your own minds up on that one.
One thing I was going to say about this, and this is kind of the thing that interests me when I saw that, is the whole, we're hoping that, I think for most people, the optimum scenario is to have them both. Maybe even to have Gini sign a new contract. And so we've just got the two of them in the squad. And if we need to lose numbers elsewhere, do it elsewhere. The problem with that, though, is Thiago's wages. Yeah. I mean, Thiago's going to be asking for a lot of money. The idea that the club will give Gini the contract he wants and then give him the contract he wants, I don't think that's going to happen. So then the other scenario of having them both is if we buy Thiago, keep Gini, expect him to leave on a free next year. Thanks for your help. All the we've done. Goodbye. So that means that Gini's going to be in the squad with a guy who's been given the contract they wouldn't give him, despite the fact that he's been at the club for 4 years and helped build the club, and this guy's just come in. That's the kind of inter-club issues.
And Thiago's injury prone and Wijnaldum isn't. And
so yeah, you can imagine a scenario where Thiago comes in, gets injured early, and then Gini's having to do all this stuff, and it's like, I'll say, so we're paying this guy to sit in the treatment room now. So you can. These are all of the teeny weeny little kind of machinations that managers and people in the situation always have to think about, and we rarely do.
Today's Talking Red is brought to you by Sam's Mum's Marmalade. And our new cup, Just Won It, which features Just Won It on that side, and which features this fella on that side. And if you fancy that, to have your brew in, to wind up blue noses, to wind up manx, to just, in case you brew, it's available at theanfieldrap.com in the shop. We'll be back in a minute, but first off, a little clip from our subscription stuff, and this is a new show. We've got loads of new shows this season. This one is called The Final Word.
First of all, his record on opening days is brilliant. He absolutely loves it. He lives for it. But also just his attitude, and his attitude even recently. There was a meme that went up on the LFC Twitter page that I loved, where they basically said to him, who are you putting in your fantasy league team? He said, me. And I loved that. And he said, why? And he goes, because I get the most points every year. And when you look at the amount of assists, I mentioned it earlier, 104 in the Premier League, assists and goals since 17-18 when he signed, is incredible. That it's not just his output, in front of the, in terms of goals, it's him setting them up for his teammates as well. And I think that's the thing that sort of passes a lot of people by. And you can talk about the Twitter banter, you can talk about what opposition teams and sides think of these players because he's maybe not watching Mo Salah every week, or maybe because at times he looks a little bit unorthodox. Like, he looks like a footballer that at times doesn't have it in control, but suddenly he's past you. Like, it's almost as if he does it on purpose. Like, it gives you a little inch and then he's past you and he goes. Even his penalties, like his penalty record, I think he's missed one for us. And yet he scored in a European Cup final as well with one. And yet every time he stands up to hit a penalty, I'm thinking, oh, I don't know about Mo Salah. I feel like I just want James Milner brought onto the pitch to do it. But he scores it. It's never in doubt, and it's always a brilliant penalty. The first one he goes down the middle. The second he decides, well, I can't go down the middle again, so I'll just bang it in the bottom corner. It was a mad performance all round, but Mo Salah was the one that can walk out with his head held high and say he did the business, not just in front of nets, but they just Leeds let him have the ball far too much, didn't they? And it was just the amount of times where every time he got the ball, I was thinking something's going to happen. He's about to make something happen, and that's one of my favourite things about footballers, is whenever you get that feeling that the minute they get the ball, that right, here we go, he's going to do something now. I'm excited to see what he can achieve this season because he looks bang up for it, doesn't he?
He was on it, he was sharp, he looked the absolute fucking business. On Leeds as well, obviously lots and lots of people, initially I thought very positive about Leeds and how they played and what they did, but then it seemed to me as time went on across the weekend that it started to sort of fade away a little bit, and people were actually starting to be a bit negative and going like, I'm not having all this praise for Leeds, but I thought that was a little bit mean, and I thought this was an impressive stat from Adam Bate on Twitter, at Ghost Goal. He said Leeds made 33 tackles against Liverpool at the weekend, the most by an away team in a Premier League game at Anfield since Jurgen Klopp became the manager. So there you go, The Final Word. That is one of a series of new shows out there, both in terms of podcasts and in terms of videos. We're shaking it up a little bit this season with some new stuff. So let us know what you think of that if you already subscribe. And if you don't subscribe and you like the look of that, download the app. Have a go of it. You can get some free tokens. You can have a go at some of the premium content. And if it's for you, subscribe. And if it's not for you, keep watching the free stuff. Keep supporting the Reds. Up the Reds. Okay, yesterday then, a couple of Premier League games. Chelsea in particular obviously took our attention because we're playing them this weekend. Sunday, R4, Stamford Bridge. Obviously, Timo Werner takes our attention a little bit because,
Indeed.
We looked to be signing him. He was fluttering his eyelashes for a long time at us. Klopp seemed to fancy him, etc., etc. We all know the backstory.
Yes.
He played all right, I thought. He won a penalty. He looked sharp. He looked fast. He seemed sound as well in the interview afterwards, which was a bit of a shame.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? Being sound and being at Chelsea? You haven't got the memo, you have you?
He won't last there. No, to be honest, it was everything I expected. I had been in my fantasy team because I expected him to hit the ground running. It was a shame that he left Leipzig when he did. We were all saying he needs to be there for the Champions League runs, etc., etc. He was already focused on his next move. He's been focused on his next move in his career for about the last 2 years, and so he's going to give absolutely everything to be off and running straight away. obviously Chelsea weren't quite as fluid behind him.
No.
And that's being kind. Yeah. the other fella, Kai Havertz, didn't quite have as good a debut, but
He looked a bit rabbit in the headlights, Tim, didn't he?
yeah.
There's one where he just booted it onto play. It was like, lad, what are you doing?
To be honest, what he's doing is he's made me look stupid because I've been bigging him up for quite some time. I think he will come good. Obviously, it's a little bit rustiness, but this was what I said. The big thing with Chelsea is that it's all well and good playing fantasy football and saying we're going to buy him, we're going to buy him, we're going to buy him, we're going to buy him. You've all got to put them into a coherent team that then plays. And not only that, it's all well and good buying him and him and him and him and him up there. If you still got that fella back there, then you're going to concede a lot of goals and you're going to have a lot of problems.
Yeah, you are, of course, referring to Kepa. Kepa Arrizabalaga. Was that all right? I'm having a go this season. I'm not just going to cast round it. Arrizabalaga. Here you go, Kepa Arrizabalaga. Get in, that's all right, wasn't it? But he is shit. I think it is fair to say. 70 million quid they spunked on him, and I really like Carragher saying on Sky last night, he was saying, you know, Chelsea really get done in the transfer market in terms of what they pay, in terms of what they sell players for, and he's like, but this time I think they've been done. He's not a 70 million pound goalie. The goal there from Trossard, Leandro Trossard. See, told you I was having a go. I mean, nice enough hit, but fuck me, any other top goalie saving that, aren't they?
Everybody's shooting as soon as they get a good, decent chance against him.
Surely the lads are in Melwood now going, well, normally we try and carve out a chance in the box, but fuck it, we may as well all shoot from 30 yards, because this lad doesn't know his arse from his elbow when it comes to saving them. Since he joined Chelsea in 2018, he's conceded more Premier League goals from outside the box than any other goalie. 19 it is now. And as Neville said on the thing last night, you know, you can't have that and expect to be at the top of the league.
And I mean, obviously, I'm not a goalkeeping expert, but you do look at things and you look at players and you see them when they're analysing them after the game. One thing I've noticed is the difference. Him and obviously Jordan Pickford, the P-Rex, they're both undersized keepers. But Pickford at least is better at moving it laterally across his line. It seems like Kepa's just always too late. His brain is not switched on quick enough to...
Bad on corners as well, isn't it?
Exactly, and that's the times when you've got time to
Van
set...
Dijk!
You've got time to set and think, and you know what you're supposed to be facing, and yet still nothing. I mean, I would definitely throw everyone in. I'd throw Van Dijk, centre mid, maybe. Oxlade-Chamberlain, get him in the pitch. Anyone who likes a shot, get him in the pitch.
Yeah, they weren't that impressive. I tell you who was impressive though is the Lamptey fella. I'm a big fan of him. And sort of put it into context about how well he played against us, because obviously Nico got a bit of shit for the fact that he got roasted by him on the regular. But, you know, last night he was doing it again, and he looks an absolute quality player. I'm really impressed by him. But yeah, equally, I think Trent and Mar will be going.
100%. Well, I mean, it's not just Kepa. I mean, the fact is that this brand new dawn for Frank Lampard is being stymied by his defence.
Yeah.
Like, they were still playing Marcus Alonso last night. Yes, they've got Chilwell to come in, but he's not in yet. They had Rudiger on the bench, who I still think is their best centre-half. So if they can't sort that out, we will get chances. And up front-wise, against Leeds, it looked like we're in the ability to take chances. So as long as we tighten ourselves up, I think we've got a really good chance in this game.
Yeah, same. And mad that Ross Barkley's still kicking around as well. Anyway, Liverpool Rezzies, which isn't really a thing these days, but, you know, I'm an old arse and I still say these things. So a Rezzy side, which included Milner, Origi, Shaqiri, he is alive, Matip, Karius, Wilson and Brewster, played out a 1-1 draw with a Huddersfield side in a secret friendly on Sunday. I love the idea of this. It just came out there today. One of the Yorkshire papers has been covering it, then it got picked up by everyone else and it's out there now. And all we know about it is they played a friendly. Minamino scored for the Reds, which is good, continuing the theme of him playing well in recent times. And the idea everyone seems to have concluded is that's kind of the side that you're probably going to see in the League Cup. Which brings you on to the League Cup. Bradford and Lincoln, I think, are playing tonight. And whoever wins out of those two will play the Reds. Is it next week?
It is, mid next week.
So, yeah, my question for you is what do you think about the League Cup this season? Because you know, I think the last couple of seasons, because of where we've been, where we're at, what we're doing, most people have kind of been happy to say, and even me, who's normally a defender of the domestic cups, has been happy to say, yeah, just kick it into the bushes a little bit, and who's asked, play the kids, and if we get somewhere, we get somewhere, and if we go out, it's not the end of the world. Is that still what Liverpool are going to be doing, do you think? Or?
I think even more. You're right. I think even more so with the changes that they've made to it as well, because winning the League Cup doesn't get you into the Europa League, so it gets you into the development Europa League. So I think that we should be playing our development team 100%. I'd be looking to give more minutes from kids from the under-23s. Essentially, what they tried to do with the EFL Trophy, where they got under-23 sides in it, I think we move it up a level and do it with the League Cup. We always say this at the beginning of the season, and then we end up drawing another big team, and then it all goes to shit. That happens every year.
Yeah, or we get Everton, who aren't a big team.
No, exactly. Well, yeah, but that doesn't matter, because we can still play the kids against Everton and beat them. Curtis. So I think we need to keep doing that. I think obviously that team from last night is very much like a motley crew, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like players you probably not played to get alongside each other for quite some time. So you see some of them there, you want to get them more minutes, you want to get them back into the rhythm of playing football. Some of them you just want them to experience the idea of a match day. I mean, obviously, we've still not got fans yet, but the idea of sort of representing Liverpool on a regular basis going out there, I think it's really important to get a lot more players those kind of minutes, because we've seen in pre-season, and we see in pre-season a lot guys who make a big impression, and then we don't see them until next pre-season. So if we can use this League Cup, really use it, and just block out the noise from everybody else, and just use it for us like that, I think we can get some real benefit out of it.
And we'll be playing a side we're not used to seeing the Reds against in terms of Lincoln or Bradford, which I think is always nice. So yeah, loads of stuff on the Anfield app this week, and Mo briefly mentioned before fantasy footy. There is a fantasy footy show now as well, because we realised a lot more people are getting into it, I think, because of the situation and because you're not at the match and all that kind of gear. I've done a team, you've done a team, and this week...
I mean, I'm hosting the bloody thing, so I have to do a team.
Well, and we're going to discuss our teams this week on the show, which is called The Game. That is all part of the Anfield app subscription package. So check that out on the AnfieldApp.com. Nice one for watching, nice one for liking, nice one for, you know, in general saying that you enjoy what we do, because loads of people do, and it's always appreciated. And as I say, any of the new stuff, feedback on it would really be appreciated, because, you know, we're always looking to improve on what we do. Nice one for watching. I'm going to go and get stuck into some marmalade. Up the fucking Reds.